So now we discuss on participants in financial markets. All of you are aware of that financial markets, IPOs, FPOs, India has had in 8 months till August 2024, 227 IPOs. You can imagine that flood has come. It's like a heavy rains, what we witness in monsoon. I would say IPOs are raining. And now, post Navratri, you will see a large IPO coming in, Hyundai or Hyundai Motors of 25,000 crores, followed by Swiggy, 11,000 crores, and many more hidden gems to come. So please remember, who are the people managing them is equally important. That's what we call them, participants. Now if I look at very clearly, there is obviously issuing company. Who is that issuing company? Issuing company is like Hyundai, or you can say for that matter Swiggy, or Bajaj Housing Finance, or Ola Electric. All these are issuing companies. They are called issuers. FPO, we had one large FPO, which was of Vodafone Idea. And all of you are aware of what is IPO and FPO. When an unlisted company issues shares, it is IPO. When a listed company shares issues, it is FPO. IPO is initial public offering. FPO is follow-on public offering. Then obviously, people like us who give money are the investors. Again, here a little disappointing report from SEBI that 70% people who get allotment sell shares in a very short time. Investors generally, in finance, we call investors are the people who invest for long term. So people who subscribe, who trade, who are there for long term are investors. Others are speculators, hedgers, arbitrageurs. Obviously, to control all this, we require a regulator, and who better than SEBI in India, Securities Exchange Commission in US, Financial Conduct Authority in UK. All these are the regulators who control capital markets. Please do not confuse yourself with RBI and SEBI. RBI controls banking. They are banking regulators. Federal Reserve Board in America is headed by Jerome Powell, controls banking of America, central bank. Bank of England is the regulator in UK. Then the next regulator, as you can see, is next regulator. There are many regulators. So please remember, regulators are capital market and money market and banking. Custodians, a very simple definition. Custodians are the specialized financial institutions who safeguard the assets. Please remember these 3 words, safeguard the assets. Why I am telling you like this? Because when I come to depository, I will say they are specialized financial institutions who hold the assets. There is a difference. Depositories is a larger term. They are the people who are going to hold your securities. Custodians safeguard. And please remember, depositories can be custodians. Custodians can never be depositories. Depositories is a larger term. When I come to brokers and dealers, will like to tell you they are the people who are intermediaries between the buyer and the seller. And of course, there is a clearing house which clears all the trades. And all this finally happens in a stock market. In India, we have 2, BSE and SE. For your information, India is the 4th largest in the world as far as stock market is concerned. Who is heading it? United States. Who is 2nd? China. Who is 3rd? Japan. Who is 4th? India. Just overtook before few months Hong Kong. We add $1 trillion every 117 working days. That's what the research says. 117 days. So probably by February, we should be surpassing Japan. This is the explanation further to discuss financial participants, issuers. Issuers are legal entity. Why do we call legal entity? Obviously, they have to be limited. Limited under the Companies Act 2013 in India. They sell securities. What is the responsibility to sell the securities? Who does that for them? Investment banks. Whether it is JP Morgan Chase, whether it is Morgan Stanley, whether it is Bank of America Merrill Lynch, please remember this, whether it is Nomura, whether it is MUFG Bank, please remember the responsibility is very much to sell the securities. And please remember here, they should make proper disclosures, report all financial conditions, material developments, operational activities, issue securities, and they are for long term. They may use that funds for short term, but generally IPOs, when we say equities, it is always for long term. Investors, I like to specify here, they are the people who take risk for returns. But let's classify them. If you are a retail investor, SEBI says you can invest only up to 2 lakh rupees in an IPO. Yeah, that's very clear. That's what the definition of retail investor is. Only 2 lakh rupees. That's a limit they have put. If you are high net worth investor or high net worth individual, your net worth has to be more than 5 crores. If you are ultra high net worth individual or ultra high net worth investor, your net worth has to be more than 25 crores. Just for your information, recently Forbes published a list of top 15 super rich in world. It had 2 Indians, Mukesh Dhirubhai Ambani and Gautam Shantilal Adani. These 2 people made to that super rich list. What was the criteria? $100 billion net worth, 100 billion and above. These 2 people made it out of 15, and that means India does have representation in super rich, and from Asia only these 2 people were there, only these 2. So what is the basic interest of investor? Paisa kamane ka? Definitely yes, but at the same time they have to take advice from experts. Please do not forget the adage when you are an investor, what you see regularly on televisions from a reputed stock exchange, soch kar, samajh kar, invest kar. And if you don't, you know the outcome of that. When you are an investor, you should be alert. You should not be lured by wrong profits, wrong gains. You should not be carried away with that. It is something which will hurt. Never share your confidential information. You are an investor, a responsible person. It's your hard-earned money. Retail investor, and that of course there is HNI, ultra HNI, and you'll be proud of, we are adding many billionaires. Mumbai has overtaken Beijing in number of billionaires. Institutional investors, Lord Abbott, American funds, Vanguard, PIMCO, ING, AIM, Franklin Templeton, Dodge and Cox funds, to name a few. Further classifying it, retail investors can invest even in mutual funds. They prefer that. They even prefer exchange traded funds. They purchase in their personal accounts. Institutional investors, it's a different story. They are qualified institutional investors, means they have permission from regulator. In India, SEBI, in America, SEC. If I talk about UK, Financial Conduct Authority, FCA. Now please remember this, institutional investors are not the beneficiary of earnings from investment, but the company as a whole. And always remember that institutional investors sometimes have a larger role to play. They buy in bulk. What do? They make large investments. That means sometimes even they can nominate the director on the board. Individual cannot. Individual cannot. Brokers and dealers. Legal definition is a broker is a natural person. Broker is an intermediary who works between the buyer and the seller. Please remember, broker does not have authority to advise. He is intermediary. He just follows your orders. You tell buy to buy, you tell sell to sell. If broker violates his norms, his responsibilities, he can be held liable by SEBI because you have your limits. You cannot cross that. Executing trades, that's what his function is. What is executing trades? Take the order, fulfill it. Client services, definitely within 24 hours of the order, client should get the contract note. What is the trade cycle in India? Just for your information, it is T+1. For 25 stocks, optional trade cycle is T+0, but otherwise it is T+1. Fastest in the world. Brokers also have to be fastest. And nowadays, so you will all be seeing the videos on various channels. National Stock Exchange, to align with global stock exchanges, is planning to extend trading hours in the evening from 6 o'clock to 9:30 and later on 6 to 11:30, so that investors get benefit of global stock exchange news. What is the time American stock exchange starts? Evening 7:30. Now coming to broker roles, as I said, executing trades, client services, then there is market access. What is market access? They have to give dealers or clients access to the market. You may be given online password, etc. And that's where what you will do is you will trade online. Because you can execute your order even by calling the broker, going to his office, sending an email. Even if there are informal relationships, which I will say do not do that, but still WhatsApp, SMS. But best thing is online trading. After the order execution, as I told you, broker will be able to inform you whether your trade is executed. Some of the brokers who are large, like Motilal Oswal, India Infoline, they even indulge in market making. Market making means they also have large volumes of trades in particular stocks. Is it insider information? No. Market making means you are giving quotes and there you are doing trade for large quantity. And what the investment advice, these are done as it is very clearly recommended based on client's risk tolerance under a separate company which is called PMS, Portfolio Management Services. Broking company में advice नहीं देगा, PMS, Portfolio Management Services. A thin line of difference you should know between a dealer and a broker. Dealer and a broker. Broker always is called an agent, which is more used in real estate. आपको घर खरीदना है, you will say I'll contact my agent. या घर रेंट पे लेना है, you will say I'll contact an agent. But in stock market we call broker. Or for investment banking purpose we call them intermediaries. It's a more of a respectable term. Dealer is called principal or market maker. Do dealers hold inventory? Yes, brokers cannot. It is not allowed by regulators. Trading, dealers do own account trading, bear own risk. खुद के लिए करते हैं. More, I would say a proper word will be proprietary, ownership. Broker, only they can do for client account and they don't take risk for client. Client risk, client will take. If today I order for Tata Motors, risk is mine if it goes down, if I am buyer. If I am selling and if it goes up, risk is mine. He is not responsible. Revenue, the difference between the buy and the sell quote, or we call it bid and ask quote, is pocketed by the dealer. Broker's main income, commission, or I would say appropriate word will be brokerage. A very nice term, stock exchange. Many people think stock exchange is defined by Indian Companies Act. Please take that out from your mind. It's a misconception. Stock exchange is defined by SCRA, S-C-R-A, Securities Contract Regulation Act 1956. What is a stock exchange? Centralized marketplace. Buyers and sellers come together. Why do they come together? Buying and selling of securities. If I tell you a commerce term for buying and selling of securities, the appropriate word is trading. Trading of securities. They provide platform. In India, we have BSC and NSC. Just for your information, India's oldest stock exchange is BSC. Asia's oldest stock exchange is also BSC, born in 1875. But world's oldest stock exchange is not BSC, it is Amsterdam. And all stock exchanges are secondary market. Why? Because their shares are listed. Primary market is where the client faces the investor, faces the company directly. Here you don't. Here buyer and seller are there through stock exchange, dealing through respective brokers. Buyer has buying broker, seller has selling broker. So always remember, stock exchange is a centralized place for buying and selling of shares or trading of shares, and stock exchange is always a secondary market. And Asia's oldest stock exchange is BSC. List of major stock exchanges in the world, starting with New York Stock Exchange, NYSE. It is in New York, United States, with indices as DJIA, Dow Jones Industrial Average, and Standard & Poor's 500. NASDAQ is in New York City again, United States, and index is NASDAQ Composite. London Stock Exchange is in London, United Kingdom, FTSE, FTSE 100. Tokyo Stock Exchange, TSC, is in Japan, Tokyo, Japan, Nikkei 225. Shanghai Stock Exchange is in Shanghai, China, is SSE Composite. Hong Kong Stock Exchange is in Hong Kong with Hang Seng. Euronext is in multiple European cities because these are followed by the countries which follow Euro, Euronext 100. Toronto Stock Exchange is in Toronto, Canada. Just for your information, this is a stock exchange which closes last 2 a.m. in the night to 2:30 a.m. in the night. As per Indian Standard Time, this exchange closes. S&P and TSX Composite. Bombay Stock Exchange is in Mumbai. We have sensitivity index, that's the full form of Sensex, sensitivity index. It has 30 stocks. BMMF Bovespa, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Ibovespa are the notable indices. Brazil is one of the emerging markets. That's the reason you hear this name. Now I come to a definition of depositories. I told you, when I told you custodian, specialized financial agencies safeguarding your assets. That time I told you, when I come to depositories, it will be specialized financial institutions holding your securities. That's what you read. They are in electronic form. इलेक्ट्रॉनिक, फिजिकल फॉर्म में नहीं होता है. Now the share certificate time is done. And please remember, when you convert your shares from physical certificates to electronic form, process is called dematerialization. And in case you want to keep physical securities which are not tradable, but you don't want to sell, like Mukesh Ambani holding 50% shares, he doesn't want to sell, he will keep that shares in physical in locker. Then what is the process called? Converting electronic shares to physical, rematerialization. Demat, remat. So that's rematerialization. Dematerialization is easy transfer of ownership through a book entry. It's so simple process. It's so nice and comfortable that there is no hurdle of torn certificates, stolen certificates, bad delivery, signature issue, transfer form, stamp duty, all that is history. Demat is a simple process. What is the role of depositories? They safeguard your securities. They carry out electronic process of dematerialization, transfer of ownership. There is an electronic settlement, risk management, and of course, even depository agencies manage GDRs and ADRs. ADRs are listed in America, GDRs in multiple countries. You try to understand it further. What is safeguarding of assets? We need to understand. Safeguard means keeping safely, holding the assets safely, such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and other financial instruments. Dematerialization enables the conversion of physical securities, paper certificates, into electronic form. I told you that. Certificates to electronic form is demat, electronic form to certificates is remat. Please understand, in remat you cannot sell shares, so you have to have demat. And this eliminates physical certificates, and that was a very, very bad situation because certificates are not easy to preserve. Transfer of ownership. Depositories, very simple transfer, you just do an electronic transfer. And when you do electronic transfer and when you receive money, or if you are paying money and waiting for the shares, when you wait, buyer receives shares, seller receives money. When that procedure is complete, it is called electronic settlement. Everything is done online. That's why it is called electronic settlement. Then you also have risk management. All this data is preserved properly. There are cyber security measures, disaster recovery plans, proper backups are taken. It is the duty of the stock exchange to see that data leakage is not there. And if any wrongdoings are there, regulator is watching them. Very recently a case got closed on NSE for pilferage of data and basically sharing certain data with brokers. NSE was fined more than 600 crores by SEBI just 2 days back. Somewhere in October 2024, first week, they made the payment. The case is closed now. Because NSE, please remember, is coming out with IPO very soon. GDR and ADR, as I told you, global depository receipt come in more than at least in 2 countries, and ADR is only America. We also had IDR. I'll just tell you for your reference, IDR is full form is Indian Depository Receipts. We had that. Standard Chartered Bank had come to India in 2010. We had IDR. 2020, it got delisted. Depositories can be national, international. Examples you can see: Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, largest, DTCC, Euroclear, SIX Security Services, Clearstream, Deutsche Börse Group, a few names. Then we also have market participants as clearing agents. Before I explain you clearing agent is an intermediary who gives services of clearing and settlement. Actual process is what? I sell the shares, I give it to selling broker. I sell the shares, I give it to selling broker gives to clearing house to buying broker to buyer. Please remember this, when I sell the shares and when it gets transferred to clearing house, that process is called novation. Novation, novation. Clearing house is not going to hold the shares for long term. They belong to the buyer. So please remember, what is novation? When trade title is transferred to clearing house, it is called novation. Clearing house is a financial institution that provides clearing and settlement. In simple language, we call it pay in and pay out. Today, if suppose it's a Tuesday, I buy a share, it is pay in, and Wednesday, when I receive shares, it is pay out. Today, Tuesday, if I sell shares, it is pay in. Tomorrow, I receive money, it is pay out. Transactions can be executed on exchanges, OTC, markets, etc. Clearing agents have a function to perform between buyer and seller, and as you can see in the chart, when the shares are transferred, they are called novation. In United States, the largest clearing house is DTCC, Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. In Europe, it is 6 Clear. We saw that in the same. Market participants, roles and responsibilities of clearing house. Here, I would like to tell you a very responsible role they have. They have a very big responsibility. The largest of that responsibility is that they carry out risk management. And that's where I'd like to explain you all the roles and responsibilities of clearing house. So as we were discussing, market participants, clearing agents, roles and responsibilities. Please remember, roles and responsibilities. It is responsibility to handle money. Money is what money does. When you say risk management, clearing house acts as an intermediary between buyer and seller. Buyer should pay on time, seller should deliver on time. Very important. It eliminates the risk of default. Centralized clearing is the second responsibility. That means everything at one place. What does it help in? Increasing operational efficiency. Increasing operational efficiency. That is what is important. Then the third is trade matching and confirmation. What is matching? If you are a seller at 100, I should be buyer at 100, because price has to be an agreement, consensus. Price cannot be different. You are selling at 100, I am asking at 99.90, agreement is not there, match nahi hoga. Trade match kab hota hai? When both are in agreement. So that is whose function? Clearing. Netting of trades. This is where clearing house performs netting to reduce overall number of settlements. Simple. You want to collect from Motilal Oswal 50 crores. You have to pay Motilal Oswal 10 crores. Will you take 50 and give 10? Why? Net karo na. Debit and credit ledger account किस लिए हैं? Do that. 50 crores to be collected, debit Motilal Oswal, 10 crores to be given, credit him, net of 40 crores. Tell Motilal Oswal, deposit 40 crores. Netting. ऐसा थोड़ी होता है कि 50 लो, 10 लो, ऐसा नहीं होता है. You have to net off the trades. This will have a very compact trading process. Netting is something you will also learn in foreign exchange. Margin management, margin तो चाहिए. Without margin, risk of default will be there. And please remember, that's the reason why forward markets are most hated, no margins. So you must take margin. You may take it as collateral, you may take it as initial margin. Initial margin का दूसरा नाम क्या है? Security deposit. That covers credit risk, that covers payment risk, that avoids default risk. Then there is trade settlement closure. Buyer should go home happily, seller should go home happily. Om Shanti Om. That's important. Please remember this. If buyer does not get securities, if seller does not get money on time, then that's not called trade settlement. Then there is some problem. Clearing house का responsibility है वो. Forward markets don't have clearing house. Stock markets have clearing house. Rely on them. Please remember this. Default management. In the event of participants' default, clearing house manage the orderly unwinding. They use collateral. How? If there is a default, it is time. It is time to accept that you will have to liquidate collateral. पैसा नहीं आया ना टाइम पे, तो collateral को liquidate करो and pay off. Back to custodian. Custodians are specialized financial institutions or banks. But please remember this. If you are present only in one country, you are domestic custodian. If you are present in more than one country, you have a global network, you have a global outreach, then you are called global custodians. Are you managing in one country, then local custodians or domestic custodians. If you are managing in more than one country, it is global custodians. Custodians also appoint sub-custodians to manage things through depositories and broker. Please remember, custodians, one sentence, please keep it in your mind. Custodians are specialized financial institution who safeguard your assets. And one more thing, remember that they are smaller than depositories. Depositories hold securities, custodians safeguard the securities. Safeguard the securities, closure of assets, that's asset settlement, record keeping, servicing, corporate actions, foreign exchange services. This is what we were discussing. A demarcation of depository versus custodian. Depository holds electronic shares. Custodian is a bank or financial institutions holding financial securities. Depository holds shares, debentures, mutual funds. Custodian, stocks, bonds, gold. Depository, legal owner. They are not legal owners. They are only holding it for protecting, safeguarding. Depository can be custodian. Custodian can never be depository. Who is bigger? Depository. Custody is one of the depository's function. Custodian is sole function of custody. Depository, CDSL, NSDL. Custodian, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, SBI, and many more. स्कूल में प्रिंसिपल, कॉलेज में प्रिंसिपल, घर में पेरेंट्स, मार्केट में रेगुलेटर्स. Financial institutions responsible for supervision with subjects to certain requirements. माधवी पुरी बुच, नाम तो सुना होगा, सेबी चीफ, शक्तिकांता दास, RBI. These are the names which markets know as heads of regulators. RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das sir, SEBI Chairman Madhvi Puri Buch Madam. Worldwide regulators, Federal Reserve Bank headed by Jerome Powell, US, Securities Exchange Commission, US, Commodities Future Trading Commission, US, FCA is Financial Conduct Authority, UK. UK also has Bank of England. India has SEBI. India has RBI. India has Pension Fund Regulator, Insurance Regulator. Forward Market Commission is merged now with SEBI. That was a regulator for commodities. After Jignesh Shah commodity scam, they are merged with SEBI. So please remember, Forward Market Commission no longer exists. It is merged with SEBI for commodity markets. Regulators, they regulate. Now we come to a very, very important concept, IB. Everybody has heard of retail banks, HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank, State Bank, Bank of Baroda. State Bank is very, very famous in social media for the lunchtime also. But nobody has heard of investment banks mostly. Let's hear. It's a time and tide which will turn in favor of IBs, investment banks. अगले कुछ साल या दशके या decades are of investment banks. What are they? Let's see. Financial intermediary, fine. Perform variety of services. Do large complex financial institutions. Can I open my savings account with investment bank? No, I require a retail bank. Then what does investment bank do? They give us advisory services, underwriting, security issues, investing, merger acquisition ideas, act as brokers. When you see ING Vyasa being acquired by Kotak, Just Dial acquired by Reliance Retail, or you can say even for that matter NDTV acquired by Adani Media, all these are, who is the advisory? Investment banks. Please remember, their services are required, precious services. IPO, when you will see Hyundai Motors opening, Swiggy opening, who will be advisors? Investment banks. They are much larger than retail banks. Here you see, they give you services on advisory services on investment banks. They give services on IPO process, FPO process, compliance, regulatory compliance, due diligence, investor presentations, pricing of the share, when to bring the IPO, when to bring the FPO, timing is also important. And they are real advisors. Do you know Amitabh Bachchan Corporation Limited? Bachchan Saab almost became bankrupt way back in 1996. He tried thrice to bring IPO. First attempt was 1996, but his 3 movies back to back bombarded: Mrityudata, Suryavansham and Lal Badshah. And he suddenly was having liabilities greater than assets. KBC brought him back, and then came his movie in 2000, Mohabbatein. Bachchan Saab then tried with a advisory from Bank of America that let me try and bring IPO in 2008, and then came in Lehman Brothers crisis. Then he again tried 2020, and suddenly he saw COVID. Now he has dumped the idea because he is now 82 plus. He'll be 83, I think, in October. 11th October is Bachchan Saab's birthday. So he'll be completing 82 and turning 83. But he's totally now defrozen the idea of coming out with IPO. Who advised? Bank of America. Sir, don't bring it. You are Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, but people investing will now think that Mr. Amitabh Bachchan is 83. Long live Amitabh Bachchan, but how many will be ready to put money? Please understand. Plus timing. Seeing an actor in a movie and putting money in his company are two different things. This is where investment banks advise, and they advised him rightly, sir, don't come out with IPO. Merger acquisition, two powerful companies come together or a stronger company acquires a weaker company. These are strategic moves. Understand these strategic moves are very, very important. Sometimes they are good for economy, sometimes they are good for the country, and sometimes probably they are good for the world. There have been mergers. And what is a merger? Please understand that. Merger, when A and B both die and C, a new company is created, it is merger. Vodafone dies, Idea dies, VI Mobile is created, is a merger. What is acquisition? Kotak acquires ING Vyasa, ING Vyasa, target company, seller, loses existence. Kotak is there. That is acquisition. In acquisition, buyer's existence remains. In merger, both companies die and a new company is created. Please remember this difference. Investment bank functions. Further, financial advice, risk management, where to invest, where not to invest, geopolitical risk, Iran versus Israel. Investment banks will say, wait, don't invest in Iran, don't invest in Israel till the entire issue is solved. Securities trading and brokerage. They also have companies which trade on behalf of clients. And please remember, there is a rule: if investment bank is buying or selling shares on your behalf, custodian company will be different. It will not be same. It cannot be same. It will be a sister concern, a separate company, but not the same company. Research analysis, preparing reports, telling us that yes, here is the time where you will see wheat prices going up, you will see sugar prices going up. Ukraine versus Russia. What happened is our roti became expensive, grain became expensive, as rightly, wheat became expensive, as rightly said by Mukesh Bhai, Dhirubhai Ambani. Data will be cheaper than atta. That happened. And next, what happened is we faced the wrath. And what happens is, you see the implications. Brazil, forest, 60,000 acres of land is burnt due to global warming. Sugarcane crops are destroyed. What will happen after December 2024? Sugar will become expensive. India will become a large exporter. Market will give them 70-75 rupees kilo sugar. And what will happen here is, our sugar will become expensive. Sweet will become sour. कड़वा लगेगा शक्कर और खट्टा लगेगा, पैसा बहुत जाएगा. Because demand will increase outside, because they need sugar. When government lifts the sanctions on basmati exports or non-basmati exports, our rice becomes expensive. दाल चावल महंगा हो जाता है. दाल तो already महंगी है. Canada is not giving us tur dal. All this exactly, please remember, are functions where investment banks require to be advisors. Asset management, they manage the assets of institutional clients and individual clients. Let's understand the difference between investment bank versus commercial bank. Investment banks don't accept deposits, don't give loans. Commercial banks, उनका तो function ही है, accept deposits, give loans. Then Investment banks have lesser customers because all are HNI, ultra HNI, institutional investors, corporates. Commercial banks have large number of customers. Investment banks give strategic advice. Commercial banks cannot give you strategic advice. Now we can say that these commercial banks, how many banks? You can see a few names here: Standard Chartered, Citibank, HSBC. Even I can add to it Kotak, SBI, Shamrao Vittal. All these are commercial banks. Investment banks, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, Citi. Citibank is a retail bank. Ab India mein nahi hai. It sold the retail business to Axis, but it is there worldwide. But Citi is there in India. It's investment bank. Nomura, Japan. Then there is MUFG, Barclays, Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse. Now, all of you know this very, very well. It's now been absorbed by UBS, Union Bank of Switzerland. BNP Paribas. These are few of the investment banks. Investment banks have a high advisory function. Retail banks रोकड़ा पैसे का व्यवहार करता है, ये ध्यान रखिएगा. This is the difference. Both need. They are not competitors. Please remember this. Retail banks are required in investment banking transactions. पैसा कैसे दोगे? So they are required. But investment banks have a big time to come. They have arrived in India, but they will continue for years and years. अब टाइम आया है IBs का. Again, I repeat: Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Nomura, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Citi, Barclays, Credit Suisse, UBS, Deutsche, HSBC, BNP, Morgan Stanley, Royal Bank of Scotland, that RBS, and RBC Capital Markets, to name a few. There are a number of banks, please remember. There are two sides to investment banks: sell side, buy side. Now, some people sometimes think sell side यानी बस sales का काम दे दिया, sales manager बना दिया. गलत. Sell side and buy side both are advisory. Sell side means you sell your products and services to gain capital. Here you are selling shares. ये कोई आप marketing थोड़ी कर रहे हो. No. Marketing is a different skill. This is somewhere here, it's advisory. Please remember, you will prepare papers, documents for IPO, FPO, advising the client, research. When you need money, why Swiggy, which is a loss-making company, coming out with IPO? Reason is, it requires more capital for dark stores to grow everywhere. All of you are aware, आज की डेट में Instamart is 24/7. रात को 3 बजे भी ऑर्डर दो, 3:15 बजे आपके घर पे गुड्स. Same about Zomato. It has Blinkit. Then there is Zepto. Then there is Big Basket. Then there is AGO. These are not e-commerce. Remember, e-commerce कौन है? Amazon, Flipkart. Then what are these? These are quick commerce. पैसा लगता है इनको. Where will they bring capex, capital expenditure? पैसा यहाँ से आएगा, IPOs. और इसका एडवाइस कौन देगा? Sell side of IB. Please do not confuse yourself as sales managers in sell side. No, sell side advisors. Whenever you see a report that advises you to buy, sell, hold, investment banks fall in the category of sell side. Then you come to buy side. Buy side means you prepare research reports. What are those research reports for? It means you will advise. Here I see the opportunity in EID Perry stock. Just an example, not telling you anything to buy or sell. Because sugar prices are likely to increase. Here I see a lot of prospects in tea sales, so Tata Consumer or Godfrey Phillips. So this is called buy side function. You give advice. Artificial intelligence, NVIDIA, a stock which was so favorite But suddenly one small article from an investment bank, AI is overrated. एक ही दिन में Nvidia gone 9%, 270 billion, Goa gone, खत्म एक ही दिन में. नंबर 3 हो गया वैल्यूड कंपनी, सबसे वैल्यूड कंपनी था अमेरिका का. नाउ इट इज बैक टू ओल्ड स्कूल माइक्रोसॉफ्ट. So please remember, buy side, whom will you advise? You will advise hedge funds, mutual funds, pension funds, जिनके पास रोकड़ा पैसा है, money. You will advise them. Their goal is to satisfy investor expectations. Ultimately, पैसा बोलता है. Please remember this. Buy side, you will be working with asset management, hedge funds, mutual funds, pension funds, insurance companies. Sell side, you'll be working with investment banks, commercial banks in IB divisions. Buy side, you can be investment manager, hedge fund manager. Sell side, you will be advisor, underwriting advisors, capital markets, and various other research work. You can see the chart, beautifully designed, financial participants, IB, buy side. If I look at buy side here, traditional and non-traditional. Traditional, you are working with pension companies, insurance companies, endowment funds, mutual funds. Non-traditional, hedge funds, distressed funds, funds under pressure, venture capital, private equity, and now the new concept, family offices. Highest family offices are now coming up in Gift City, Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar. Many large companies prefer this. Buy side here, you can see investors, retirees, pensioners, पैसा है ना. They will tell, please advise, पैसा कहाँ डालेंगे. So PIMCO will tell you, NPS Alliance, then there is Howard Management Company, Bezos, and non-traditional buy side में Bridgewater, Oaktree, and then there is KKR and family offices. They are advised even by Big Four. They have their IB divisions. They are advised by large solicitor firms, Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas, AZB of Zia Modi. This is how this matters. IB buy side. Let's understand it briefly. Buy side firms have money. They are capital providers. They consist of institutions such as hedge funds, mutual funds, pension funds, insurance companies for buying large quantities. Their goal is to align with investor expectations. By providing asset management company services, they earn performance and management fees. Sell side is more towards industry group, product group. You can see here mergers, acquisitions, debt capital markets, equity capital markets, advising Swiggy, advising Hyundai, advised to Ola Electric, advised to Bajaj Housing Finance, equities, bonds, debt equity, commodities, money market, foreign exchange. Then there is asset-backed securities, mortgage-backed securities, derivatives, corporate bonds, and so on. Sell side, to sum up, they require usually revenue. They are capital users. Buy side capital providers, sell side capital users. So they do research, timing, M&A, advising on merger acquisition, equity capital markets, debt capital markets, and they charge commission. Obviously, IBs earn money and earn money in thousands of crores. Just to tell you, on sell side, 2023, IBs earned 1,685 crores in India. And result, you see in Mumbai area, Goregaon East, next to Oberoi Mall, Morgan Stanley, taking 10-year lease, 16 floors for 15.89 crore rupees a month. Haji, that's the rent Morgan Stanley will be paying with a little bit of escalation every year. आप सोच सकते हैं 2100 करोड़ का लीज है वो 10 साल का। वो कब कर सकते हैं? When do you do? When you are confident of earning. Morgan Stanley has arrived. MUFG has arrived. Nomura has arrived. Time for investment banks to take over has arrived. Indian elephant is moving and moving far ahead of Chinese dragon. We are not comparing. We need China, we need US, but then India is moving faster. It's time for investment banks to grow. It's time for younger generation to take it over. Thank you all very much.
Found this session valuable? Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and tell us in the comments below what topic we should dive into next.